This week, Elon Musk said that Teslas will reach full self-driving capability by the end of this year. Does it mean we'll actually have it in our cars? No. But what does it really mean, and what are the obstacles that he has? At least he mentioned that Tesla has on its way to bring this to the masses. But also, should we really believe him? What are his definition of full self-driving capabilities? I'll tell you about it all coming up next. Taking over the world, electrifying the world, E4 Electric! Welcome to E4 Electric, your number one source of unbiased electric car news. If this is your first time here, boom, there's a subscribe button down there. Just go ahead and click it, and that way you won't miss anything moving forward. And of course, I want to give a quick shout out to one of my newer Patreons, John Horn. Thank you so much for supporting my show. This is the only place where you guys can watch me live, so you're the first ones to see the videos. And of course, thank you to all of my Patreons for supporting my independent channel. Obviously, it is very important to me to kind of stay afloat. So if you want to contribute, there is a link in the description of this video. Go ahead and join. So thank you to all of you guys who will be my future Patreons. All right, let's talk about this. Now, as you know, I have been very critical and skeptical about the self-driving technology that Tesla had, so far. I would say it's probably my biggest regret, getting an autopilot on my car. And as you know, there are a lot of other people have been complaining about the features or lack of. There are lawsuits, they've been settled and unsettled yet. So now there's a new development. Now, I do have to say that the latest versions, the 2.5 hardware and software, have been pretty decent. Definitely they're starting to really finally move forward with this. A lot of people are very much impressed with it. I've just ridden in a couple of Teslas with the latest software, and it is really getting up there. But it's definitely far behind of some other technologies like Waymo. I believe most people believe that Waymo does have the best technology. Now, in Tesla's defense, Elon says that, listen, this geo mapping thing can only get you so far. We're working on something that's just completely 100% artificial intelligence. So once we're done with our stuff, our cars will be able to go really anywhere, and not just in the areas that have been mapped out. So I guess this is just a different school of thought about how to reach this sort of the full level of this technology. And I don't want to go into that. But so the reason I'm making this video is because, Elon just gave an interview to this ARK Invest publication. He chooses sometimes really weird, people to interview with. And I have to say that, I did listen to this interview in its entirety, about 30 minutes, and you can find it in just sound, no video, on their website. Kind of a bit of I would say a wasted moment, much like with Brownie, with Marquez Brownlee, who I thought wasted a couple of opportunities. Kind of fanboyish questions, a lot of softballs, but they did concentrate mainly and talk about self-driving. And so this is where Elon made interesting statement. I'm just kind of gonna quote this to you. I did copy this from Electric, but they got it exactly like what he said. He basically said that we will be feature complete, full self-driving this year. So he essentially explains that the car will be able to find its driver in a parking lot, pick that person up, and then basically drive that person to the destination without any intervention. So as you can see, this is without any intervention this year. I would say I am certain of that. That is not a question mark. So, great. And he this was in context of what's possible as far as engineers are concerned, but what is also possible as far as selling it to regulators and having the regulators to buy in. Now, he did say that the best way to have regulators to buy in is to have good data saying that, hey, people who drive in the cars, Teslas on autopilot, end up being safer, and there will would be less accidents than people who are driving without autopilot. And that should be enough, and usually is enough to convince the regulators, which does sound reasonable. But at the same time, as you know, Tesla, I believe the DMV just came out with this records, released the records that Tesla logged pretty much no test miles in California, where they're located and heavily present, at all. So I'm not quite sure if Tesla is really working on having that data and approve of that data. It of course depends on which data you rely on, and we can go for a long time discussing which data is really the data that needs to convince the regulators. But I just want to say this was in a context of, we can be ready, but it doesn't mean that regulators are going to let us have it. But then he said this following thing that kind of almost undone what he said right here. Before that, of course, I want to remind you guys that this video and this channel is sponsored by Evanex, the aftermarket accessories for Teslas with and without the autopilot. There is a discount code in the description of this video. Go ahead and grab it and save yourselves a few bucks. I have quite a few accessories on my Tesla and I enjoy them greatly. All right, so here's a quote of what he said literally right after that. He said, people sometimes will extrapolate that to mean now it works with 100% certainty, requires no observation perfectly. This is not the case. I mean, literally just contrast this and this, where he literally said that it will have no intervention, and it will be full self-driving, and he is very certain of that. I just don't find these two statements, even within the context. This is why I listened to the whole sort of interview. Even within the context, it just doesn't really make sense to me. Feel free to let me know in the comment section if I'm missing something here. But I really think that being, just calling this full self-driving is continuously being a mistake. I mean, from what we see right now, it is not even a level 3 of what they have. They've had issues sort of releasing the software, to work 100%, where regulators would approve it. Navigate on autopilot is supposed to be, next big thing. Even right now, you still have to confirm that. And it's really not just driving you on autopilot. And it's, if you ask me in a bigger, kind of a grand of scheme of things, it's not that big of a deal. Now, I am excited about the fact that Tesla is really the leader in it as far as putting into regular cars. Yes, there's Waymo, there's many other technologies that are mainly targeting the ride sharing services, and that's great. That's awesome, right? As a matter of fact, I'm going to an event a couple of days here in Sacramento, and I will bring that report to you guys, where Ollie, it's a company that's making this self-driving little pods, and they're installing them on the campus here in Sacramento in one of the universities. So I'll bring that report to you guys, and it's all great. But Tesla is pushing this technology for the cars, for us, for the drivers. I just drove the e-tron in Spain. I just drove the Kia Niro EV in Santa Cruz and a couple of other cars recently, and I can tell you that their self-driving features are good, but nowhere near as what Tesla has. And we haven't seen that many really big accidents lately. It looks like they've kind of really took care of maybe like the corner cases where this did happen, and maybe also raised more awareness of the fact that you do have to pay attention to the road when you have the autopilot on. So those things have kind of settled down. Of course, if you ask me, if you have to keep your eyes on the road and your hands on the wheel, then what's the point of the autopilot? And this is why I just mentioned I'm really disappointed and really regret getting that feature. But I do have to say kudos to Tesla to at least pushing everybody forward. No other manufacturer, at least that I've test driven or seen, has anything close to that as far as getting those cars in the consumer hands, rather than just ride sharing services. So kudos to them. Let me know in the comment section. I'm actually interested to know, what do you think? Do you think Elon Musk can get the self-driving features all figured out by the end of the year, or do you think he's kind of being very optimistic? Looking forward to those comments. Other than that, see you next time, and remember to stay charged.